like to talk individually. Okay? Or you can have 3x5 cards with 3 words on each card telling you what you're going to talk about. That way you don't have any sentences to get in the way of your mind. Okay, now how much does it cost? I have a 6-session individual program. 6 one-hour sessions, $1,600. It's an investment, and it's money back guaranteed. If you will do the exercise regimen that I prescribe, and you will incorporate the things I talk about during those sessions, I'll guarantee it, money back, you'll get what you want. And I'll ask you up front, what do you want to change? Because I'm a change agent. You have to be willing to change the way you speak. Is that helpful?
Yes.
And I'm very honest with this. I'm honest all the time. Sometimes, never to a fault. Any other questions, please? I would love to talk. Yeah, good.
You're a naturally theatrical person.
Uh-huh.
Most of us aren't.
That's
It
correct.
scares the heck out of us.
I know.
That's probably the biggest obstacle, public speaking.
Yes, I get you past that.
Other than just taking your whole course is,
I make you get on your feet with me in the room, and I'm the toughest audience you're ever going to have. And I tell you what you're doing wrong, and I help you do what you should be doing, and get better at it, and get to practice and practice and practice at home in between the sessions. And I have taken bank examiners as a Federal Reserve Bank and turned them into the heir apparent for Tom Honey, the new president. He will be the new president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. His name is Steve McBride. See if I'm not right. Now, he couldn't even open his mouth when he had to talk to boards. He would go talk to boards and banks about what they had to do to comply. He couldn't do that. And many of the examiners, because of who they are and the animal that they are, can't do that. But I've worked with over 200 people at the Federal Reserve Bank over the last 17 years. Every one of them now can talk to a group of people. You know why? The template for speaking. We have 3 things we want you to work on here at the bank. Number 1, number 2, number 3. A meaningful statement about each of them. Are there any questions? I'd like to engage you folks in the cleanup here. And they can all do it. None of this stuff is hard. Because if it's too hard, you won't do it. So I have a set of exercises that you must do 3 times a day for the rest of your life. It keeps you in full voice. Once you know you're in full voice, the rest of it is easy. Because you know people are paying attention to you. I speak in the key of G. I sing in the key of G. Both are the same. So I always know what key I'm singing in when their particular song comes up. If I go into a jam session at BB's Longside Barbecue, and the piano player says, what key is it? And I go, this time we almost made the pieces fit. It happens to be F. But he finds it on the piano. Because on a specific day, my sinuses may need for me to do it in a different key. So I don't just say F. And so I do the song. Guess what? It comes out really good. Because I know what key to sing. When you know how to speak, how to say what you want to say, and you know you can do it well, it comes out good. Yes?
How much of an issue is eye contact with people that come to you to...
It is imperative.
How many people you think have problems with the eye contact?
99%.
Do they look at one side or the other?
This is what it looks like. Well, you know, if you just try you might find that this will really work for you. Now, accountants talk in circles. They don't look at you, they go like this. They in fact had a lady of all places at Fleischman Hillary that said she couldn't work with me. My eye contact was too good.
Freaked her out.
Freaked her out. I said, well, I'll just look at your chin. Is that okay? So then I'm looking at her chin and she's trying to get down there. You know, like this. Okay, eye contact is imperative. Now, don't look at people's eyes. Look at their ear, their chin, their nose. Just kind of stay with the people. Notice I'm talking to everybody in the room. Now, you folks, you have a problem over here because I have trouble working to the left. Okay? But every once in a while, I'll look over at you, and you notice I hit all your eyes as I'm going around. Therefore, you all know I'm talking to you. That's how this works. Go ahead.
I have one for you. It's going to make everybody laugh. I used to have trouble looking into someone's eyes when I talked to them. I
Okay.
couldn't do it.
All right?
I was at a party one time. It was a swimming party, and I was talking to this woman. We were standing in the swimming pool. Okay, mind you, I can't look at her eyes.
Yeah.
I'm looking right here at her in the swimming pool.
That's
And
right.
she realized I'm looking at her right here, and she's wondering if she's exposed. It embarrassed the crap out of me. So
Yeah.
you got to be careful where you're looking, and the eye is the best place to
Well,
look.
I remember when I was in the service, I was over in the Mediterranean with the Navy, and we made a stop at Ile-de-France, which is a little island off of France, where they have nude bathing. 17-year-old kid, never seen a woman in full view in my life. Really, full view. And you walk in there, and there's 200 people on the beach in all different array of bodies. And about 10 minutes later, you ain't even looking at it anymore. The first thing you can do is to find those eyes. Okay? Yeah, it's real tough, but,
Yeah.
yes.
I didn't want to interrupt your story.
Well, it was over.
My question then is personally, I have found there are some instances where I have trouble looking at somebody's eyes because it breaks my focus and concentration on what I'm saying.
That's because you're thinking.
If I don't
You got
think,
it.
my mouth is not engaged.
I know, but you gotta stop thinking. I'm glad you brought this up.
My question about that
Go
is
ahead.
that a typical and common occurrence for a lot of people?
No! No! Otherwise I wouldn't be in business.
I knew I'm unique.
No, you're not unique.
Well,
You're
that's
a
why I said
unique
it's
human
uncommon
being,
because a
but
lot of people-
what you do is not unique. Yes, go ahead. How you act is not unique, because we grow up in a culture that tells us how to act. Okay? But, if you think too much, have anybody read the book Blink by Gladwell?
Yep.
What does it say? What does it say? What does Blink say? Give me an overall. We think too much about things we don't need to be thinking about. And that is true. If your mind already knows, you don't have to think about it. I'll start a talk sometimes and I'll say, I never know what I'm going to say, and then I stop dead and start walking around. And the whole audience goes, I wonder what this guy's going to talk about. And I say, but I do know what I'm going to talk about. The words aren't important if you know what you're talking about. Yes?
Well, yeah, it's interesting you brought up that story about the new beach, because I'd always heard that people who have trouble getting up to speak in front of people, I've heard, imagine they're all naked.
Yeah.
And that helps, look in their eyes, look in their face.
Well, no, what it does is that
Make you
they,
feel less embarrassed.
no, they even get worse than that. They just look at the back of the room. I want all of you to know I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking straight at the back. It doesn't work. You don't want to think about what people look like without their clothes. Yes.
I've always, since I was young, always looked people directly in the eye when I was speaking to them. And I've always looked them directly in the eye when they were speaking to me.
Right.
I've never had a problem with that. But I found that there are some people who have a problem with, they have a problem with you looking them directly in the eye.
Right, it's a
And-
cultural imperative.
Right. Some people take that kind of as like an aggressive.
Intrusion in their being. Yeah.
Right. And I've never really understood that. To me, it's kind of a courtesy. You're paying attention to what they're saying, and you're giving them full attention when you're speaking to them. But I've come across a few people who kind of take that as a kind of a sign of aggression, or
They do. They do, because the majority of people don't like to look at people when they talk. They think it's an intrusion into their being. Now, that doesn't mean you should stop.
well, I never have.
No, I'm just saying,
It's just
there's no
natural
reason to
to do.
stop. Because once the person gets to know you, if you have some worth about what you're saying, they're going to get over that.
And my son,
Yeah.
I always talk to him.